welcome back to Teen Book Talk. Today we are going to talk about a few new releases that we have here at the library available to check out. If you would like any of these, feel free to give us a call or email us and we can put those on hold for you. So I have 4 books here with me. The first one that I have is called The Queen's Assassin. And this one's by Melissa De La Cruz. She's actually a really good author. I like her work. First of all, the cover of this is very pretty. I love this cover. It's beautiful. I always like to appreciate the artwork that the designers of these book covers put into these. It's so creative. So The Queen's Assassin. I'm going to read the synopsis for you here. And keep in mind, I actually have not read the synopses for these books. I like to read these for the first time with you guys and see if we think that they sound really good. And then once again, I'm going to read the first page or so just to see if it really pulls us in, gets our attention, and makes us want to read more. So Caledon Holt is the kingdom's deadliest weapon. No one alive can best him in speed, strength, or brains, which is why he's the Hearthstone Guild's most dangerous member. Cal is also the Queen's assassin, bound to her by magic and unable to leave her service until the task she set for him is fulfilled. Shadow of the Honeyglade has been training all her life to join the guild, hoping that one day she'll become an assassin as feared and revered as Cal. But Shadow's mother and aunts expect her to serve the crown as a lady of the Renovian court. When a surprise attack brings Shadow and Cal together, they're forced to team up as assassin and apprentice. Even though Shadow's life belongs to the court and Cal's belongs to the queen, they cannot deny their attraction to each other. But now, with war on the horizon and true love at risk, Shadow and Cal will uncover a shocking web of lies that will change their paths forever. So this sounds really good so far. I like that this takes place in a monarchy. I really like stories like that, especially if it puts you in sort of a different time period. So I love, some historical fiction, but this is more, of course, fantasy, because it doesn't take place in a kingdom that we really are familiar with. It's, from what I gather so far, it's kind of just a completely imagined place here. So these characters, I think, are going to be very interesting. I think these characters are going to have a lot of depth to them, especially Caledon, I think it's Caledon, because he's the kingdom's deadliest weapon. He's got speed, strength, and brains, which makes him really dangerous. But I'm thinking, maybe we'll get to know a little bit more deeper things about this character. A lot of authors are really good at doing that, of really, revealing some deeper intrinsic qualities in the characters, besides just what you get from the synopsis. And Shadow, her name is Shadow, that's really cool. Shadow of the Honeyglade. She's been training to join the guild. She doesn't want to be one typical, just a, what was the words that they used there? A lady of the Renovian court. She doesn't want to be a typical lady of the Renovian court. She wants to be strong. She wants to be tough. She wants to be able to, be revered, be feared, be strong. She doesn't want to be like a dainty little princess, that's what she wants. So this is going to be kind of a female empowerment story. I'm already getting that it's going to be all about, girl power and not conforming to traditional ideas of what a lady should be like in this setting. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and read the first part of the prologue, titled Renovia, in the time of King Esband after the Battle of Bayeux. "The king is dead! Long live the queen!" A frail elder from the village of Nahane began the chant from where he stood, hunched at the back of the crowd, her left hand grasping a worn walking stick. She raised her free hand to point one crooked finger toward the palace and shouted again, louder this time, voice scratchy and breaking from the effort. "The king is dead! Long live the queen!" At first the others gathered were afraid to speak of the sovereign's death prematurely, as to do so had been a treasonous offense under former monarchs, but the old woman had weathered too many seasons to fear the truth. She lifted her stick and brought it down with a bang as she said it once more, with all the breath she could muster. "The king is dead! Long live the queen!" A small child joined next, and the crone's words began to spread the way wind gains force in a storm. Faintly and then all at once, until all the people around her were shouting, "The king is dead! Long live the queen!" It became a demand. The people of Renovia wanted answers. So that's the first page. This sounds really cool. I like that this is kind of, and this is intense. It's starting out, the king is dead. Long live the queen. And of course, this is a prologue, so we don't really know if this happened a long time ago, before, or if this is going to if this is foreshadowing something that's going to happen later. But of course, we haven't read the whole prologue, so we don't know. But that's the thing with prologues. We don't know if it's something that we should know that happened before this story, the time of this story takes place, or if it's something that's going to happen later in the story. It's really cool. I like when there's a prologue. Not everybody likes prologues because they don't understand them sometimes, but when you read the rest of the story, you might just find out what the whole deal with the prologue was about in the first place. So yeah, this sounds really good. I like the imagery. I like the emotion. I like that it says that, you know, the old lady, her voice is cracking. She's using as much breath as she can muster. It's cracking from the effort. She has weathered too many seasons to fear the truth. Instead of just saying she's been through it, she's experienced a lot of things in life because of her age, it's saying she's weathered too many seasons to fear the truth. She's been through too much to be afraid of the truth, you know? So already we have an interesting character right off the bat in the old woman. Then you have a child that joins next, so it's kind of, I don't know if that's a metaphor or not, but the fact that you have an old crone who's screaming, and then you have a child who steps in, no middle person, no middle age right there, but you have a child, and that just goes to show that everybody in the village is in on this. This is a big deal right here. So yeah, this sounds amazing. Goodreads gives this a 4.5 stars out of 5. So that sounds really good. That's good review right there. But of course, you might not give it that many stars. You might not like it as much. It's up to you. Everybody's different. Everybody has their own tastes. So next I have this book. It's called The Theft of Sunlight by Intisar Kanani. Intisar Kanani. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. The Theft of Sunlight. I think this is an interesting cover. It's not too loud. It's very simple. It's got some certain colors that give you an idea and some designs that give you an idea of the culture within this story. Also, this is the second book in the series. The first book is called Thorn. When I read the synopsis for that one, I haven't read it for this one yet, but when I read the synopsis on Goodreads for that one, I got the idea that they're about different characters. So, and don't take my word for that, but so you might want to look into that a little bit further, whether or not, what order you should read them in, if they're, if it's a series where each book is different, or if it's a series where it follows a certain storyline and the same characters. So you might want to look into that. But I just like the colors, very warm colors, kind of an inviting cover here. And here is the synopsis. I did not choose this fate, but I will not walk away from it. Children have been disappearing from across Manaya for longer than Amraya Neonsarim can remember. When her friend's sister is snatched, Ray knows she can't look away any longer, even if that means seeking answers from the royal court, where her country, upbringing, and clubfoot will only invite ridicule. Yet the court holds its share of surprises. There she discovers an ally in the foreign princess who recruits her as an attendant. Armed with the princess's support, Ray seeks answers in the dark city streets, finding unexpected help in a rough-around-the-edges street thief with secrets of his own. But treachery runs deep, and the more Ray uncovers, the more she endangers the kingdom itself. I don't know how I do this. I grab books that kind of have a similar theme to them, and I don't do that on purpose. I mainly just make sure that they're new releases, but I also just love the covers, and I just grab ones that I want to talk about because I want to promote our books. But it's interesting that this story also takes place in a kingdom, and also there's some deception, some treachery, a little bit dark, a little bit of a darker story once again. So very interesting here. And you know, you have children disappearing. That's pretty melancholy concept there. And then you have someone who's rough around the edges, street thief that she's with. Somebody that's probably a little dangerous, and just like in the Queen's Assassin, she had someone dangerous on her side, Cal, you know, so that's interesting. That's really interesting. So, oh, and there is a map here. I like when there's a map in the story. All right, let's read the first page of The Theft of Sunlight. Chapter 1. There's a mini dog crouched beneath the second-to-last vegetable cart. As a rule, I avoid mangy dogs, especially ones with bloodshot eyes and a clearly infected paw. But this is a sad-looking creature, its narrow face streaked with mud and its coat thin to almost nothing over its ribs, skin scaly and pink beneath the grime. Something's wrong? Ani asks as she switches her brightly woven market basket to her other arm. At her other side, her little sister Sari dips a booted toe into a puddle left from this morning's spring rains. The crowd around us shifts and moves, a sea of brown faces and bright clothing filling the wide town square to brimming. For a moment, I lose sight of the dog as a group of older women push past, skirts flapping around sturdy boots. No, I say, turning to my friend. I'm just wondering where Bean is. Have you seen her, Sari? Sari looks up, twin black braids swinging. Oh, yes. She's across by the horses. Should I go get her? I'm going to stop there. So I like that this is pretty lighthearted at first. You know, we read the synopsis and it was kind of melancholy, a little dark, you know, deception in the royal court. You know, she invites ridicule. She has a club foot. She's country, so she's probably from a more rural environment where she lives. She's kind of, you know, she probably loves nature, I'm going to just assume, because, you know, if she likes the country, then there you go. She's rough around the, oh, we already talked about the rough around the edges street thief. So yeah, there's just a little bit of dark things there in the synopsis, with the deception and a street thief, treachery that runs deep, endangering the kingdom. And then, you know, the first chapter puts us in a little bit more light. You know, we're talking about the theft of sunlight here, which can also be, the title itself can foreshadow things that are going to happen in the story. You know, like I said, we start off dark in the synopsis, and then we start off light in the first part of the chapter. Because, you know, she's talking about dogs crouched beneath the second-to-last vegetable cart. It's kind of sad because she finds this one dog who's got an infected paw and everything. But, you know, we can already get a sense of this character, her heart. We can already tell that she has a heart. She's a good person. She feels bad for this dog, you know? And there's bright clothing, so the imagery itself is shedding more of a light on the story. The brown faces, so that gives you a hint of what these people look like. You know, like we said in the cover, there's some designs that remind me of kind of an Indian or South Asian, you know, design theme there. So I think that's really interesting, and I myself love this type of scenery with, you know, a village, simple people just living in the country. They've got colorful clothes. Women have, you know, they've got woven baskets, skirts flapping around, sturdy boots. They're all hard workers. They're just living life. They're just getting by in life, enjoying the sunlight probably, you know. and then you're going to have the theft of sunlight. Something's going to happen in the story. So keep that in mind, you know, when you're reading. So that sounds really good. Goodreads gives this a 4.1 stars, so that's pretty decent. Once again, you might not give it that many stars. You might think it's worth 5 stars, but you're just going to have to read for yourself. I know you want to read more. We have it here at the library if you would like to. The third book I have here is Wings of Ebony by J.L. And this is a really cool cover once again. I like the purples, I like the pink, I like the gold wristbands that she's wearing here. I like the gold lettering in the title. And she also has some gold paint, it looks like, on her face. I don't know if that's makeup that the character has on. We can find out. We'll find out in the book though. And this is a fantasy novel as well. Once again, I love fantasy. Oh, and this is a signed first edition. Wow, that's pretty cool. Okay. Rue's family is her whole life. Her sister Tasha, moms, and the play aunties and cousins who live in East Row, the Houston neighborhood she calls home, are her world. But it is appended when the unthinkable happens. Moms is murdered and Rue is snatched away by a father who abandoned her at birth, a father who now insists she follow him to his home, Gazan, a secret country of gods who wield a powerful magic. Whoa. In Gazan, Rue's existence is a crime. There's never been a half-god, half-human there, where leaders protect their magical powers at all costs and thrive on human suffering. Miserable and desperate to see her sister on the anniversary of their mother's death, Rue breaks Gazan's most sacred law. She returns to Houston only to discover black kids are being forced into crime and violence, and Tasha is in danger of falling sway to the very forces that claimed her mother's life. Worse still, evidence mounts that the evil plaguing East Row is the same one that lurks in Gazan, an evil that will stop at nothing until it has stolen everything from her. Rue must embrace her true identity and wield the full magnitude of her ancestors' power to save her hood before the gods burn it to the ground. But how can she pull it off when the enemy is everywhere? This is a very, very cool concept right here. It's interesting, you know, and once again, you kind of have not really royalty here, but in a way you have gods, you have goddesses, and she is a very important character. She's half god, half human, but I get the sense that she is going to have a very important role for some reason. And she is going to be tough. I can already sense she's strong. She probably has a lot of strong will to her, strong-willed person. I like her personality already, just the way that this is describing, you know, Rue and her family. She probably loves her family. It mentions it right off the bat. Her sister, her mom, her aunties and cousins, just the neighborhood that she calls her own. So she probably cares about all the people in her neighborhood. And, you know, has been through a lot in her past. Her mom was murdered, and she's snatched away by her father, who takes her to this whole other world where there's, you know, gods and goddesses. And for someone who's from Houston, she is probably freaking out at this point, you know, to be somewhere that's full of magic, a secret country of all things, almost like another world on itself, but it's a secret country. And when I think of that, I'm thinking of, like, you know, in the Black Panther, you had Wakanda was so hidden. It was kind of its own secret kind of country. So I'm kind of getting a little bit of those kind of vibes here in this story. And that's so cool. I'm wondering what kind of technology they have in this secret country of Gazan. And, you know, the powerful magic that they have. And, you know, we see that she's going to go on this quest. She's got a mission. She's going to discover some things about what's happening in Houston, in her hometown. And she's going to try and step in, and she's going to try and save her hood, save her neighborhood. And so I think this sounds really good, just based on the synopsis itself. All right, chapter 1. We're going to read the first page again. Bullets don't have names, but if they did, chances are one would have mine, or someone brown-skinned like me. Metal slats chill my legs and I shimmy sideways, craning for a better view from the bus stop, careful to keep the onyx stones fused to my wrists covered. Up all night I watched the sun rise like a traitor to the chill set in my bones. A yawn scratches at my throat, but my lungs refuse to breathe. Any moment Tasha will step out, her tie-dye drawstring knapsack on her back, and her purple fuzzy phone clutched in her fingers. She always oversleeps, but she won't be late, not today. She, like me, probably couldn't sleep, knowing we had to face today, had to relive what this day means. 1 year ago today, Mons died, shot dead on her stoop. No explanation, no investigation, just blood, pain, and lots of tears. So many tears. Since then, it's been Tasha and me, separated, living in different places. But not today. Today, my little sister won't be alone. My eyes sting. I blink the tears away as a bass-filled trunk rattles by, blasting some rapper whose name I can't remember. I'm home. It's good to be back, even if I can't stay. I sigh, but my shoulders cinch instead of sink. Wow, so just some powerful emotions right off the bat to pull you into this story, to pull you in to this character's life, to really make you connect with the character so far. And, this, of course, if you follow things that happen in current events here in, the United States right now, in our own lives, in the lives of some people who we know, our friends who are dark-skinned, we know that this is not unlike what happens often today. So you have a little bit of some allusions, not illusions, but allusions with an A. It's kind of alluding to some things that are happening in the real world. So that's, interesting already. So a lot of people who might read this might be able to relate with her if they're from a neighborhood where a lot of violence and crime happens and things. But of course, we have fantasy brought in, which makes it awesome, because she's a half-god. She's, she has this past that's making her strong, probably going to help her with her abilities that she probably has because of her divine blood that she has. So I think this is going to be really good. I love the descriptions in this. I like the word choice that really brings out the emotions, blinks tears away. Just blood, pain, lots of tears, just bam, bam, bam. No investigation, no explanation, injustice. That's bringing up some injustice there in the story. So she's already feeling this injustice that she has faced. She has, okay, by the way, and she has onyx stones fused to her wrists that she has to cover. So onyx is a black stone. It's a very shiny stone. So she has onyx infused in her wrist. I wonder if that is because of her half divinity that she has. I'm thinking that the gods and goddesses that from Gazan, where she's about to go, I'm thinking that they probably have some gems in them. I don't know, if you're a Steven Universe fan, that sounds really cool to me. So Steven Universe is a show where they were the crystal gems. These characters had different abilities, different powers, and different gemstones that they had inside them, and that gave them certain abilities. So that kind of reminds me of that too. So if you're interested in that, type of, if you like crystals and stones, yeah, Wings of Ebony. Wow, sounds really good. Oh, and by the way, Goodreads gives that a 3.6 stars. So not too bad, but you might like it even more. You might not like it as much. It's up to you. It's your world. So this last one is called The Lake by Natasha Preston. And it's kind of an ominous cover. You have this lake, a little bit of dark shadows right here. The sky is dark. You have flowers laying on the dock there. Wow, so I can already kind of get the mood of this story is going to be a little bit melancholy, a little bit darker. And this is the same author of The Cellar, which The Cellar is kind of a darker story as well. Welcome to Camp Pine Lake, where the only thing scarier than a ghost story is the past coming to haunt you. Esme and Kayla once were campers at Camp Pine Lake. Now they're back as counselors in training. Esme loves the little girls in her cabin and thinks it's funny how scared they are of everything. The woods, the bugs, the boys, even swimming in the lake. It reminds her of how she and Kayla used to be before, because Esme and Kayla did something terrible when they were campers, something they've kept a secret all these years. They vow that this summer will be awesome, 2 months of sun, s'mores, and flirting with the cute boy counselors, but then they got a message. The lake never forgets. The secret they've kept buried for so many years is about to resurface. If you guys ever heard of I Knew What You Did Last Summer, that story where some people did a terrible thing, and these kids did a terrible thing, and then all of a sudden this note pops up saying, I know what you did last summer. That's really reminding me of that story, because these girls are about to relive something they tried to keep in the back of their minds. Who knows what this is going to be about, but it's going to haunt you. It's a ghost story that's going to haunt you. So I'm thinking, of course, a murder. That just makes sense. Most of the time, in these types of situations, you have a murder that took place that was being covered up. But, once again, I don't know that for sure. So we'll just have to read to find out. But right now, we're going to read the first page of The Lake. Chapter 1. We're returning to camp, to new friendships, to songs and s'mores about the campfire, and to the scene of our crime. I lean between the front seats to get a better look out the windshield. There it is, I say as we drive under the large Camp Pine Lake sign. It's exactly as I remember it, the name carved into the wood. Glancing down, I trace one finger across identical bold lettering on the pamphlet I received earlier this year. Kayla and I both got letters asking us to consider becoming counselors in training. We're back. My best friend of 15 years glances at me as the cab crawls to a stop. She pouts her glossy lips, which makes her eyebrows pull together. Does it seem, smaller to you? Everything seems bigger when you're a kid, Kayla, I remind her. The last time we were here was 9 years ago. So, yeah, little bit lighthearted, but also a little dark start to this story. They're thinking about returning to their friends, to new friendships, to songs and s'mores about the campfire, but then it takes a sharp turn and it says, and to the scene of our crime. So you already know they've done something. You had the synopsis, but it reminds you right off the bat that something happened. The scene of our crime, foreshadowing something dark that they did. I feel like the imagery so far could be a little bit better, but I'm still there. I'm still picturing the scene right here. I'm seeing a lake. I'm seeing trees. I'm seeing nature. It says that, they haven't been there since they were 9, so it's been a while. They're older, so you kind of get a sense of how old they are here as well. So this sounds really good, and once again, I think this is going to be more of a thriller, more of, of a mystery, a murder mystery kind of story here. So definitely give this a try. Once again, we have all of these books here available to check out. If you would like any of them, please call us or email us and we can put them on hold for you. Stay tuned week after next for another Teen Book Talk where I'll talk about some more new books that we have and, see if you are interested in them. So I hope everyone has an awesome rest of your week, and I will see you guys next time.